Hello again, class. Welcome back. Today we're back around the campfire as we're going over a classic creature from Celtic mythology. As you are probably willing to guess by the title of today's lecture, today we are going over the Banshee. A classic tale, a classic monster from Celtic mythology. Now, the Banshee mostly hails from the Celtic mythologies of Ireland and Scotland. At least that's where it's mostly seemed to have originated from. They appear as ghostly figures in the forms of human women, wearing grey robes. However, their appearance can vary a little bit, especially their age. Sometimes they come in the form as young, beautiful women. Other times they're gaunt, middle-aged women. Other times they're elderly, wrinkled, decrepit women. In some more modern depictions, they seem to be rather emaciated or horrifying to look at. And those also have their precedence too, especially given their subject matter and what they are said to herald. But we'll get into that. So, what the Banshee does is that it attaches itself to a family, and it manifests for said family to foretell a coming death. Now, the death can either be your own, or someone in your family, or in some tales it can just be someone in general who's close to you. But as I said, most of the time it tends to be a family member. The warning for this oncoming death comes in the form of a scream. Now, there can be two different screams that herald two different kinds of deaths. A low, wailing scream can signify a peaceful way of going out. Perhaps you have an elderly family member who is getting up there in terms of age. This could signal that they are soon to pass peacefully in their sleep, amongst friends and family and people who love them. Perhaps it means they'll drift off painlessly and go on to the next life, wherever that may be. However, much more terrifyingly, if the scream manifests as an ear-splitting, high-pitched, piercing scream, that signifies a painful death. Perhaps you are a soldier, and you hear the screams of a ghastly, ghostly woman, ear-splitting, making you feel as if your head might explode in the helmet that you wear. Perhaps this could signify that you will die a slow and painful death on the battlefield. Perhaps you will be taken prisoner, and your death will be long and drawn out. Or it could not even be physically painful. Perhaps it could mean you are simply in mental anguish all the way until your end, fearful and paranoid of what is to come next. For everybody, it's different. And in the end, I suppose only you will really know. But I digress. Regardless of if it is high, ear-piercing, and terrifying, or low wailing that signifies a peaceful end, it is said that these screams are a strange blend between that of their physical appearance, a woman's scream, and the cry of an owl, which is oddly specific, but does add a twist to the horrifying nature of it all. And One of the strange things about these banshees is that they do have, at the very least, a little bit of a historical precedent. You see, there are tales of soldiers who, marching on their way to battle, would hear the screams of a woman deep within the woods or in the fields or where a battle is set to take place. And the soldiers would desert, fearing that their death was imminent, that their battle was lost already before it even started, or at the very least that, regardless if they were victorious or not, that they themselves would die. And so they would flee. But in many cases, regardless of if they flee it or not, these cases would happen to come true, as the Banshee foretells. They would occasionally die to the elements, exposure, predators, etc. Or as they run away, they would get captured by enemy soldiers and obviously then eventually most likely killed. Or they would be cut down by their own soldiers as they were deserters and so should be put to death, at least from their perspective. But what do you all think of the Banshee? Have you seen one? Had it ever foretold someone close to yours, someone close to you's death before? Or do you simply think that it's nonsense, and that the historical precedent of the desertion of the soldiers was more so a self-fulfilling prophecy, if anything else? Obviously, if you go out rushing into the wilderness, you're more than likely to die if you don't have any general survival skills, or obviously, your general might exactly not take your treason to heart, regardless of if he heard an ear-piercing scream or not. Be sure to tell me what you think, which is true. Or do you think it's perhaps a little bit of a blend of both? That's always the fun parts of these old stories, aren't they? Such a mystical blend between our world and the next. But that is all I have time for today. I hope you continue to enjoy your spooky season. And please, be careful for the next time you hear the screams in the dark.